Hello, Panthers. Welcome to Sips and Skills, a bi-weekly coffee talk about soft skill development in the workplace. My name is Abby Straczynski. I manage student and young alumni programming for the UW-Milwaukee Alumni Association. Every other week, I am joined by a fantastic Panther alum to talk a little bit about their career and how they've used soft skills throughout their lives, both personally and professionally. Today, I am joined by Sandra Kenly, a 2017 graduate of the Lubar School of Business. Sandra's background is in supply chain management, and she's also passionate about mentoring young professionals in their personal and entrepreneurial development. Today, Sandra and I will be discussing her experience with networking and effective communication, specifically public speaking, in both her personal and her professional life. Hi, Sandra.
Good morning.
Good
Hello.
morning. Thanks for joining me. So
Absolutely.
the first question I always like to ask, because this is an alumni coffee talk, is what are you sipping on this morning?
Yeah, so I'm actually a tea drinker. So I've got Earl Grey tea in my cup, just black, no sugar or milk.
Excellent. Wonderful. Getting a little bit of caffeine this morning. Um, the second question I always like to ask our alumni, I'm going to have you kind of dig deep into your memory and share with us one of your favorite memories from your time at UWM.
Yeah, so thank you, Abby. Honestly, there's so many, and I might cheat a little bit and just add two quick, one on campus and also one off campus. So I was a teller for the UW Credit Union for, I want to say maybe 2 to 3 years of my undergraduate experience. It was so great because I worked at the campus location. So it was nice getting a chance to integrate and speak and work with the students on campus, as well as other just local community members that banked with UW Credit Union. And my off-campus memory was studying abroad in London, and that's actually where my love of tea came as a result of UWM being that platform and that opportunity to do so. So I studied abroad my junior year, spring semester.
Awesome. And as someone who banks with UW Credit Union, I miss the on-campus branch because the students who work there are so fantastic and take such great care of everyone who banks there. So thank you for sharing those memories. We're going to jump right into talking about, you actually have 3 soft skills that have been really important to you in your personal and professional development. So tell us a little bit more about the importance that you see networking, communication, and public speaking playing in your life, both professionally and personally.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, these 3 soft skills are just so important and versatile, whether it is to your point, whether it's in professional or your personal life. And in terms of networking, I feel like for me, it's just coming down to connecting with people, being able to relate to them, and seeing if there's any value that can be extracted either from my side or for the receiving side, whether it is just learning something new, hearing a bright idea, potential internship opportunities. That's really how I was able to evolve my internship into my full-time role when I had graduated in 2017. And a public speaking aspect, my experience dates back to high school. I was a part of forensics, which is kind of like a public speaking sport, if you will. So being able to use some of those skill sets throughout presentations through undergrad in my internships that I had, I find most internships do have some kind of readout or final presentation, and communication is just integrated throughout that. And there's so many sectors of communication. It's the speaker, it's the listener, the audience, and the message that you're sharing. So these 3 soft skills really helped cultivate who I am today and how I got to where I am.
Awesome. And can you give some actual tangible steps that you took to, in addition to forensics in high school, but what are some tangible steps that you took to develop your networking, public speaking, and overall communication skills?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was an intern at Rockwell, which is where I ended up staying, and got a full-time offer from 2 of the internships that I had before graduating, something that I did was book pretty much anyone that I had met. I booked 30-minute meetings just to learn about them. So I'm intentionally putting myself in a situation. Sometimes it's like uncomfortable, right? If I'm speaking to leaders that are at a director or VP level and they were open and willing to having those conversations. But I was intentional about putting myself out there to learn, number one, about different positions, different areas of supply chain, of the business in general, but also starting to integrate those communication skill sets as well. So as I was going into those 30-minute talks, I would have kind of like set up questions of what is it that you do? What do you like or don't like about your job? If you were in my position, what would you tell yourself? How's that experience been for you? I was able to create standing relationships, which ended up helping me in solidifying my full-time role. So that was something and a step that I had intentionally made from a networking standpoint. And then from a communication evolution, I mean, honestly, growth happens outside of your comfort zone. So it's just taking that next half step, whether it is even just like having conversations with other interns, having conversations with other classmates is less, I would say less like out of your comfort zone. So starting somewhere where it's just a half step up and seeing how you can continually integrate the quality of the individuals that we're talking about. And we all have value, don't get me wrong, but there are people out there that have higher self-images and higher confidence levels than me. So I want to be able to position myself to speak to those individuals so I can see what area of opportunity I can tap into for my potential when it comes to communication. And then same thing really goes with public speaking. I feel like putting yourself out there, especially, I mean, it started in high school, but it evolved into final presentations for work activities, whether it was in internships or final presentations for classes. A lot of, as you're starting to evolve into like junior and senior year, you're just going to be doing more group projects, which usually lend to final presentations. So having open dialogue with the people and the groups that you're working with on, hey, how can we be most effective in the message that we want to share? And then as it's evolved, even in my current role today in commodity management, I have a presentation that I'm actually going to be reading out on Wednesday for our vice president of sourcing and my director of indirect sourcing. So I'm thankful that I took this step to step out of my comfort zone early on, to really cultivate that skill set. And the nerves are still going to be there. Like, don't get me wrong. Even when you were saying, oh, I'm hitting record, like, oh, I get this like quick sweat, but it's because I want to make sure that I'm adding value, and I want to make sure that I'm being able to bring my most authentic self when I'm presenting something. So embrace the nerves because they're always going to be there.
Definitely. Awesome. And I'm actually, so normally I would ask, how young people, primarily UWM students, young alumni, can hone these skills, but you just answered that so well. So I want to put you on the spot a little bit. And given the really unique times that we're in right now, the fact that you and I are not at a coffee shop having this talk in person and we're instead having it over a Zoom video, do you have any nuggets of wisdom for young people who are trying to network or hone their public speaking skills virtually? Any advice?
Yeah, absolutely. So one organization that I am a part of, and it's tied to Rockwell, but Toastmasters is an incredible organization that you can tap into professionally or community-wise. Most of our events are happening, or our meetings are happening either via Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So seeing what organizations can provide you with an opportunity to public speak on a virtual level, Toastmasters has been a phenomenal platform for me to be able to do that. And then, I mean, social media is out there. I would say, number one, just take a look at your profile, whether it is personal or professional, on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Just do a social media refresh. But there's so much power in who you can connect with on social media. I've had conversations with people in Australia, in the UK, but also in like Texas or California, just as a result of putting myself out there on LinkedIn. And a couple steps specifically regarding LinkedIn is figure out what you want your image and branding to be. So for me, it's personal development, it's mentorship, it's being a cheerleader of people. That's really the branding that I want to put out there, in addition to being in supply chain as a profession. But get a feel for what kind of brand you want to solidify in the social media virtual realm, because then that'll give future employers and even just future connections a feel for who you are. What is it that Mary or Sally brings to the table that's
Yeah.
unique? Social media is such an incredible platform to be able to articulate and give that without even needing to have a conversation with somebody.
Right.
But I just say start with that refresh, start with that branding first, and use your direct messages. I mean, it's easy, and it takes 30 seconds to say, hey, I see you're a supply chain professional. I'm interested in learning about that. Can you share some of like your biggest learnings in that space and in that industry? Also liking and commenting and really just building a community, because irregardless of where somebody is at physically, the connections that we can make virtually are just so powerful using that platform. So LinkedIn is such an incredible platform professionally, but so is Instagram and TikTok and
Yeah.
Facebook. It's how you're presenting yourself in that space.
Absolutely. And that brings me to my last question, which is, if students are interested in with you about the work you do as a mentor, or the work you do at Rockwell in supply chain management and that sort of thing, how can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am on LinkedIn, so feel free to follow me or send me a connection request. So Sandra Kenly, SandraKenly. I am also on Instagram, so feel free to reach out to me in that regard. My tag is SAMAELKE. Thank you.
Wonderful. Sandra, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today about your experience with networking, public speaking, and communication. I think it's even more important nowadays in this kind of virtual world that we're living in currently. Viewers, thank you so much for joining me today. Come back in 2 weeks. We'll have another Sips and Skills alumni conversation. These conversations can be found on our social media. So just as Sandra mentioned, hop on over and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You'll find these videos as well as a lot of other great content and places to interact with incredible UWM alumni. These videos will also be on our website. So visit us there at alumni.uwm.edu/sips and skills. Like or comment on our videos on social media for a chance to win a gift card to Stone Creek Coffee. We'll be doing some drawings throughout the semester. And have a great day, and go Panthers.
Woo!
Thank you.